In our first story, the Ghana Police Service has offered a 20,000 Ghana cedi reward for information on the whereabouts of persons who shot and killed Mfantseman MP Eko Kwanta. In a statement to the press, the police said it has dispatched more men to the central region to support the personnel in that part of the country as they carry out their investigations. Let's share a bit of that statement with you. And it reads, the Inspector General of Police IGP, Mr. James Opombweno, has dispatched investigators from the homicide and anti-armed robbery units of the CID headquarters to support the Central Region's crime scene team to solve the robbery incident and murder of Member of Parliament for Mfantseman, Honorable Eko Kwanta, at Abiadze Dominase on the Mankesim Abiadze Road in the Central Region at dawn of 9th October 2020. Meanwhile, the IGP is offering a reward of 20,000 Ghana cedis to any persons who give credible information that will lead to the arrest of the perpetrators. The police administration commiserates with Ghanaians, particularly family members and constituents of Honorable Eko Kwanta, while urging the general public to remain calm and support police in the investigation of this case. It's signed by Sheila Kese Abaye Bachman, Superintendent of Police and Director of Public Affairs. Let's take you live to Parliament, where currently members are discussing this killing.
Security to yourself. What it means is that, Mr. Speaker, this meeting, which is becoming very difficult because there's a campaign season and there's a responsibility of members of Parliament to work in this House. Mr. Speaker, if for the vote on account is not passed by this House, the entire country for next year will collapse. Government will not have resources to run this country for the first quarter next year. It means that it is incumbent on us, no matter what, to come and work for the state, and the security of every member here is very important. Mr. Speaker, we console the family, we console ourselves, and we hope that the second one, which is what happened today, will not happen again. And may the Lord God Almighty continue to give us the protection and the security, and the state as well should augment. We know the security agencies are doing their best, but so long as continuous improvement is a way of life, we still call upon them to do the best that they can. And we want the IGP to take all the necessary steps and the guidance from the board, the Parliamentary Service Board, and the directive that you have given and the advice that you have given. You should reconsider and provide the necessary security for members of Parliament. I thank you for the opportunity given to me. I'm so grateful.
Thank you very much. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I should thank you for the opportunity, but with a heavy heart and some difficulty accepting that this morning we are without our colleague, Eko Hayford, and the circumstance of his death is not natural. It is one for which we have been told and informed by the media that he was murdered in cool blood, having responded and identified himself as member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this will add up to the murder of our colleague, the Honorable J.B. Dankwa, in February 2016. Mr. Speaker, the first would be to commiserate with the family and to express profound condolences and sympathies to the family, to accept this heavy loss, but certainly not an acceptable loss. Not acceptable at all. And Mr. Speaker, it's a wake-up call that this Parliament, under your leadership, must elevate the security of members of parliament as a primary matter of concern. Mr. Speaker, there is no member of the Article 71 office holders under the Constitution who does not enjoy police protection. Indeed, district chief executives are not higher, even in terms of political elevation, to members of parliament. Ministers of state are not above members of parliament by the constitutional framework. We are elected. Some ministers may just be appointed. So, Mr. Speaker, the matter of our personal safety and security, I know what you have done personally at your level. I recall even just at the last board meeting, my colleague who is in the first deputy was there, when we raised the matter of MP security and even for leadership. Mr. Speaker, I'm compelled to read a paragraph from a letter from the Ghana Police Service signed by Commissioner General, Commissioner of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, when you just requested for provision of security for the leadership of parliament whilst in our respective constituencies. For instance, if I have now get to Tamale without my police, what happens? If the first deputy or the majority leader, Honorable Chairman, gets to Swami without his police, probably he may be flying while the police is in a vehicle going to join him. Mr. Speaker, it's significant to notice when you wrote to the IGP, this is what they responded with. I'm also directed to inform you that considering the forthcoming general elections, coupled with emerging security threats in some parts of the country, it will be difficult to provide additional permanent protection officers for the leadership. This is how we are treated as an institution. The most important organ in any democracy is parliament. And therefore, we welcome the President's commiserating message to you. But beyond sympathies, we want action. And that action, the Inspector General of Police, even though an institution of state, falls directly under the executive. And therefore, the Inspector General of Police must seize this matter and act expeditiously and diligently and report back to you, the Speaker and Parliament. We need to know the circumstances leading to the murder of our colleague this morning after he successfully went to file his nomination as Echo Hereford Member of Parliament wanting a renewal of his mandate. He loses his life at 1 a.m. So, Mr. Speaker, the Inspector General of Police and the Minister for Interior will have to take up this matter and report same to this House as a matter of urgency. So, Mr. Speaker, our first will be to express our sympathies to, it's a loss to all of us, Parliament as an institution. I know it's been your quiet prayer that this Parliament would have passed with all 375 seniors through. Probably God has accepted your prayer. That is why we've not had any natural incident. But this unnatural murder of a member of Parliament, it happened to J.B. Dankwa. The perpetrators have not been identified. They have not been punished. But, Mr. Speaker, it raised an issue that members of Parliament were our own enemies. There is public distrust. Sometimes there's even public outrage. We have suffered physical attacks. We've suffered verbal attacks, but not deadly attacks. Not one that results in death. You can say you are not happy with the way we are contributing to your welfare. But once he loses their life, that's it. What more can he do? But, Mr. Speaker, the public, when we engage them, they will say that members of Parliament, yes, we are not asking for, we are asking for the safety and security of every Ghanaian. We are only additionally asking that given the risk of the job we do, we are given self-protection and personal protection. That must be done by the Inspector General of Police and the Minister for Interior. Mr. Speaker, we control their purse. If they refuse to provide for it, there will be an appropriation bill into next year. We will do what is appropriate, needfully and lawfully, because our lives matter and lives of members of Parliament matter. So, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Kwame Agoja and Honorable IP escaped someday on 3rd November 2019. The Honorable Kennedy Kwesi Kankam escaped death. So they are real. There is real and imminent threat to the lives of members of Parliament. And therefore we demand elevated self-protection for members of Parliament, whilst we call on the executive, the IGP, to improve the general security landscape of the country and to contain crime. But members of Parliament, we are not asking for too much if we say that we should. But Mr. Speaker, this particular letter dated 6th October 2020, addressed to you, addressed to the Clerk of Parliament, that they cannot even help us when you are talking about just when the leadership is in the constituency. The Honorable First Deputy travels to Bekwai. He has no immediate police available. He symbolizes Parliament as an institution. Anything that happens to him or majority leader negates the gains we are making as a democracy. And I think that Parliament itself must wake up. And members of Parliament, this is not a matter to which we should be divided. In any case, DEF doesn't know NDC, doesn't know MPP. But we want it to be natural. We don't want this managed killing of a member of Parliament who went to successfully file his nomination to serve his country. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Echo, everybody, as I sit here, he sat through, always beaming with a quiet smile, as he sits over there with a quiet smile. A gentleman of a member of Parliament, to lose him this way is not acceptable. I can't lose us.
Minority Leader of Parliament Haruna Idrisu there. Let's take you to the home of the late Member of Parliament, where my colleague Richard Kojonyako has been interacting with some family members and constituents.
This is the residential facility of the incumbent Member of Parliament for Mfantseman constituency called Kwanzaa Hayford, who was shot dead early this dawn at 1 a.m. In fact, there have been several narrations that people are attributing to the death of this Member of Parliament. But this is the residential facility. It looks as if the entire town of Mfantseman is here. People have trooped to where he lives. He has a wife and 2 children, and people cannot control themselves.
Well, what I know is that I was called in the middle of the night, somewhere around 2 a.m. I had a call that the MP is gone. So I quickly asked, what really happened, and I was told. So what I did was that I went to Sopwan Government Hospital, where I saw the MP lying down dead, being shot.
This particular stretch, what do you know about this stretch? And when you do campaign deep or late into the night like that?
We are not even campaigning at the moment. Because of the COVID, there has been a whole lot of strategy where you wouldn't have a whole lot of people. So what the constituency has designed is that they managed to meet some few people and talk to them. So, and normally what we do is that, we give them a pre-information that we are coming. But of course, if MP is going somewhere, there will be a whole lot of people also, coming across. So sometimes that's what really eats into the night. So it's not as if it's been organized in the middle of the night. Yeah.
And it's been so much of a difficulty for them to handle. So tell us, how do you take all of this?
To be honest and sincere, we are very sad this morning because we are not expecting something of this sort this morning. And from what we are all suggesting and assuming, it's something that they've planned and plotted about.
Why do you think so?
Because how come they went there and mentioned the name of the MP? Who is the MP? Because they are a group of people. So if they are armed robbers, they would have attacked all of them. They will not mention or point to a particular person. So in this way, they pointed that we are looking for the MP. And the moment the MP showed up, they shot him. So it means it's a plan thing. Whether within the party or outside the party, it's a plan thing. We are not doing anything till we hear something good from our constituency executives. Let them come and voice out to us what they are taking, the necessary steps they are taking before we will come down.
By 2 o'clock, you are here to the honorable, Kwanza Ford. But let me tell you, because every morning, by 5:30 to 6, you are near your sayable. Nayaban, Kwanza do ya Tonya Bida. Yani Toyedi, Yakasa, Yakasalaman Kasa, Yakasalaman Kasa, Yakasalaman Kasa. And honorable. Nabanta na Yakasalaman Kase, Al Mamma Casamana Samobo, no, you're blanda.
It's all live on JoyNews today. Let's take you back to Parliament, where Speaker of Parliament, Reverend Professor Mike Okwe, is speaking regarding the killing of this Member of Parliament.
As well as those who sometimes criticize when protection is being demanded. And it is noteworthy that the directives I gave as chairman of the board, the response from the police sort of coincided with this unfortunate incident. I'm respectfully directing that the Honorable Minister for Interior should appear in this Honorable House on Tuesday to assure the safety of honorable members, particularly with reference to those words which apparently provoked this dastardly act. The Honorable Minister is hereby invited to come make explanation, give assurances for the protection of honorable members, so that honorable members may advise themselves as they think fit in all the circumstances. It's not every MP who is an MP in Accra. They live far away from Aflao to Enchi, and yet they work here in Parliament. If their family happens to be in Navurungo, should they leave those people unattended too?